Another slow start for us today. We were just in a fog to start the game. We had no rhythm, no sense of urgency. We finally woke up a little bit going into halftime in the second half. The game obviously is two halves, but you know, to start the game, we weren't ourselves, and just still trying to put my finger on it. But give them credit. You know, this is a team that lost to North Carolina last year in the tournament. They have a bunch of prideful seniors on their team. They're the oldest team in the SEC. I'm sure they didn't like being 8-7 in the league. And they came out and played with a lot of urgency. You know, we talked at halftime about trying to pick up our energy. I thought we did in the second half. Specifically, Braxton came out and played a much better second half. But for us to be successful, we can't play 20 minutes or 22 minutes. We definitely can't turn the ball over 18 times. Another game where we get out-rebounded. And that's something that we're going to have to turn the corner on in both of those areas, taking care of the ball, rebounding. And you know, I thought we did a good job of making some threes tonight. We didn't do such a good job from the free throw line. But at the end of the day, you know, give Mike and his team credit. Those guys are hard-nosed players. And they came in and they wanted it really badly.
Thanks, Coach. Just a reminder, raise your hand to ask a question. We'll get a microphone over to you. Start with Alex here on the right.
You touched on just now in your opening comments, but a third straight game, third straight loss where you lose the battle on the board, especially on that offensive end. I guess defensively, what's going on there that they just can't seem to kind of pull down boards and they're getting second and third chances?
Yeah, it's rotational box outs. First of all, we getting broken down too much in penetration, and when we do, we got to get more guys in there to rebound. And you know, our starting team is not the most physically imposing team, but you know, it's all about the heart. It's all about the heart and tenacity. And we were asking a lot of these kids to do stuff they've never done before. A lot of them, you know, where they've come from, they can just roam on the perimeter. They don't get involved with a bunch of big guys inside. So we'll continue to watch it on film, and hopefully we can turn the corner in terms of rebounding the basketball and taking care of the basketball. We had too many turnovers versus their traps, their zones, on our penetration, all of the things we work on. And like I told you guys, I'm the one that's responsible, number one. I'm the one that should have the bullseye on me because I'm the one coaching kids, and we have to do a better job of getting them to respond.
Hi, Coach. I have two of them. First, what is Colin Sexton's impact on your team's potential?
Well, it's huge, you know, but it's not just him. You know, we've had games this year where, you know, he didn't play. We've had games this year maybe where he didn't play well and we still won. But his impact is huge. You saw the way he got the ball up and down the floor in about 2 seconds. And I just think we need more of that. But if we can't rebound the basketball and we're giving up too many offensive rebounds, we can't get him in the open court as much. So he has a huge role on our team, and his impact is great. But so is Dejon Abrams and Braxton Keys. And, you know, Dante Hall, you know, really hasn't been himself, you know, from an offensive standpoint. Those 12, 14, 16 points that he gets, you know, during the stretch in this season are very helpful for us. So we got to figure out a way to get him back involved.
All right, the second one. What's your reaction to this report of this FBI investigation?
So we reviewed it, and after we reviewed it, we made a decision that Colin was going to be available for us, and that's the extent of it. Right now, I'm trying to review and try to help our team get to the next level on both ends of the floor, try to help us grow into maturity a little bit, because you know, sometimes we make inexperienced decisions out there on the floor.
Brian Cecil.
First thing, they missed the front end with about 24 seconds left. You got the ball down 3. And ball goes into Dante. Are you just looking for a 2 there? You're not looking to play for a 3?
Yeah, I mean, basically we got the ball up the floor in a couple of seconds and ran a little bit of a, you know, fake situation that we like to run, and trying to get the defense to shift, and basically got the ball to our big guy in the paint where he can go up and dunk it or hopefully get a 3-point play. And unfortunately, we didn't get the 3-point play, and unfortunately we missed the free throws. But I don't think during that time you know, that we need to come down and just launch a three. There's still, you know, quite a bit of time left in the game.
Coach Chandler, on the left.
Avery, you alluded to it a little bit earlier. Dante hasn't been himself these past 2 or 3 games. Are you seeing parallels in the last 2 or 3 performances that have rendered what's going on?
No, not really. It's not Dante's fault. I got to do a better job of coaching him up. You know, just got to do a better job of figuring out getting him in the right spots. You know, getting him the ball a little bit more. He's got to make himself available. That's what it is. It's since I've been here, it's always about the coaching staff doing a better job first before the players.
How do you try to attack the turnover thing? I know that's probably the most disappointing thing all year because you think they'll get better, and kind of the same in that part.
When we've had, you know, this type of assist to turnover ratio in our last 3 losses, it looks exactly the same. When we win on a night like tonight, we'll probably have, you know, 16, 17 assists on 8 turnovers. You're really just beating yourself, and this team loves to reach. We knew it coming in, but they trapped the post. Poor spacing. We drove the ball. You know, they got 2 on the ball, 4 hands on the ball. We weren't strong with it enough, and you know, it's just something we have to continue to review and get better at.
Front row group.
Coach, they seemed, especially most of the game, to be the more physical team. How do you get your team to play with more of an edge like that?
I just think you're dealing with some grown men, Drew. At the end of the day, we can't make ourselves over. You know, we have 2 pretty fast freshmen that start, and one shoots it, and one is, you know, is a penetrator, and you know, now Braxton and Dejon, who were in those spots last year, they've kind of shifted down a little bit, but we thought we could make up for it a little bit on offense by taking good care of the basketball, maybe making some more shots and having, you know, more creativity in our offense, and we just haven't gotten to that point consistently. But, you know, when you're talking about Barford and Macon, these are 2 guys declared for the draft last year, JUCO kids, and when you've made it as far as they made it last year in the tournament, there's a ton of experience. And when you're playing in the finals of the SEC tournament championship and making it deep, making a good run in the tournament, you got a little bit stronger resume, and we're not there yet. That's something that in year 3 we're striving towards.
Do 2 more questions. Caleb and
Coach, this stretch of the season has been circled on the schedule since the beginning with how tough it is to finish the season. Do you think you have a better grasp of how good this team can really be based off the last 3 games, or how can you go about the next 2 to try to correct the final stretch?
Well, it's mental stamina, it's physical stamina, it's, you know, keeping your composure. You got to play more than a 20-minute game. You cannot just cruise into these games. In our last game, we spotted our opponent, what, 11-0, a 14-2 start. This game, again, we came out and, you know, we couldn't make a move. We were turning the ball over at half court. So we just didn't look like a focused team to start the game. Now, we got there in the second half, but and in the second half, you know, we got guys just kind of breathing really hard. We said, okay, give them a little 1 or 2 minute break, and lost a little bit of our momentum, and you know, that's the way it goes sometimes. But I'm very disappointed. I'm disappointed for our fans. Very, very disappointed. This is one of my games this year. You know, when we lose, yeah, you know, you move on to the next one, but I'm very, very disappointed in our overall effort, and I'm very disappointed in myself.
last question, Alex.
Just got 2 for you, Avery. Braxton started today, obviously had that strong effort early in the second half. I think 14 to 16 points then. Just talk about the decision to start him, and what did you see from him?
Well, we've been struggling at the position. I mean, look at the stats. You know, and whether it's rebounding or we're just looking for a spark. We got it in the second half. We didn't need it as much in the first half. And you saw a glimpse in the second half of what we can be when we're all clicking and rebounding and getting stops and getting the ball out and running in transition, and, you know, guys taking and making their 3-point shots and stepping up to the free throw line. making their free throws and taking care of the ball to give us that opportunity to do it.
You just said disappointment. You used that phrase. You know, you're entering last week of the regular season. Is there any frustration, any other feelings that you're at this point and you're talking about how young this team is, 20-some odd games into the season?
Yeah, like I told you guys all the time, the frustration is a strong word. And I've always been a fighter. And whether I've got cut from a team, whatever it is, I've always been a fighter. I just think the really good teams take on the personality of the coach. And we're not there yet.